Me? Yeah, get pissed.
What are you gonna do? Come on, show me.
Such grace, truly praiseworthy of Sergei Kravin.
So a lot of people who have watched this movie are still yet to find out who Kraven is. So Kraven is actually a character that first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 1964, the very first Amazing Spider-Man that was ever acted. Though he would occasionally appear in some other character titles, but he mostly frequently used as a Spider-Man foe. So Sergei Kravnev is a Russian immigrant. I'm talking about the first movie that appeared. What really happened in that movie? It was mostly an animated series, but Sergei Kravnev is a Russian immigrant which was the son of one aristocrat who fled to the United States with his family. So Kraven is a very big game hunter in those days who seeks to defeat Spider-Man to prove that he is the greatest hunter in the world. So unlike other hunters, he typically refuses to use guns, bows and arrows, but he prefers to take down large, dangerous animals with bare hands. So he also lived by the code of honor of sorts, choosing to hunt his game very fairly and square. As a man, he thinks like an animal. So he's contacted by his half-brother. In that 1960 movie, we saw his half-brother in the movie was Chameleon. His name was Chameleon. So he was contacted by his half-brother to defeat the Spider-Man. So in this 2024 series of Kraven, we also saw his half-brother Dimitri. Dimitri was also Chameleon, but he later found out about his nature at the very end of the movie. So moving on, he leads Spider-Man to the Central Park with the help of Chameleon, who disguised himself as Kraven, to use himself as a decoy while Kraven ambushes the hero. However, despite Kraven having weakened Spider-Man with a poisoning dart, Spider-Man prevails in the end. So Spider-Man proves a frustrating query because Kraven continually underestimates the superpower and resourcefulness. So this 2024 Kraven is trying to tell us the real story of how Kraven came to be. Who is Kraven? A lot of us have heard the name Kraven, and we're like, this movie doesn't really explain much from the official trailers, posters and all that. It doesn't really tell and describe how or where this thing came from. It actually came from the Amazing Spider-Man, the very first Amazing Spider-Man that was ever acted in 1964. That was when this character was born. He had a lot of stories, both with Venom and the rest of them. Dr. Octopus, he had a lot of stories about Kraven in that movie. So now, in the 2024 series of Kraven, the story was quite unique. It tells us a story of the original character which is in question, which is this Sergei Kravnev. So they survived by the father and the little brother. So the pressure was bound to soon exceed containment. Talking about the 2024 movie, right? So the one that sparked a lot of questions about the origin of Kraven. So their mother was dead in the movie, the father was alive, and then he had a little brother, right? So who was Dimitri. So after the death of the mother, Sergei Kravnev and his half-brother Dimitri, the Chameleon, they are taken by the father to, the father's name is Nikolai, to prepare to take over his drug trafficking operation. And how he intended to do that was trying to hunt down a long sought after indestructible lion. There was this particular lion in Ghana. that was really feared by a lot of locals. So the father decided to hunt it down to prove to his sons, or to teach his sons, some morals about ruthlessness and perseverance, and also hand over his company, which was he was a drug lord, so he needed someone who would have the mind enough to handle such operation. So during that particular hunt trip in Ghana, a lot of things happened, and then they were suddenly, confronted by the lion, who was really huge and ancient, from the way the pictures made it look. So the Sage and his brother, who were holding a gun right in front of the lion, could no longer shoot that particular lion, probably due to fear. I think there was a lot of fear in that particular moment that made him even bring down the gun. So at that particular moment, the lion attacked Sage, who was trying to protect the brother. Attacked him, and then his father took his first shot, his second shot, and third shot. By then, the lion has already taken Sage and disembarked that particular location. So now the lion was shot 3 times. He was already weak. So what happened was that he dropped off this particular person he was carrying, which was Sage. So Sage got injured and very unconscious, trying to protect his brother from the same lion he encountered. The lion's blood were merged and his own drops. There was a situation when the lion's blood was merged with his own blood because he was bleeding unconscious, and the lion took him out at that particular location to another place. So when he dropped him, the blood of the lion and his own blood, he was already wounded, like a lot of blood. He was unconscious, dropped into his blood, and he stayed there until there came a girl named Calypso. Calypso is like a voodoo practitioner's daughter. The mother gave her a healing kind of potion or a serum that would heal anybody this particular potion touches. So the girl named Calypso heals him with that particular serum and then calls for rescue, leaving a tattooed card behind. So Sage now discovers his physical abilities of becoming animalistic over some time. So when Nikolai reveals he killed the lion to teach his son a lesson, so Sage became very disgusted about his father's actions and decided to flee that particular mansion owned by his father. He ran to his mother's sanctuary in the middle of the forest. That was where he lived until 16 years later. That was where he took up the name Kraven. He's now a vigilante who hunts criminals and hates poachers. He hates poachers so much. So after killing an armed trafficker in Russia, in a Russian prison, so Kraven travels to London for Dimitri's birthday, which he normally, does from time to time. So their reunion was very short-lived when some mercenaries abducted Dimitri. So when Nikolai refused to pay the ransom, which of course Kraven asked him to pay immediately, they were requesting for about 3 million or some millions of dollars, which he knows very well that the father has. He handles a lot of drug, movement in the country. So the enemy, which is going to be known as Alexis, actually was the one who kidnapped Dimitri. So their union is very short-lived as those mercenaries abduct, and then when he refused to pay that particular ransom, Kraven decides to do what he does best. He decides to track down those people. So he tracks down, first off, he starts to track Calypso, tracks her down. Calypso is now a lawyer. Remember, Calypso is the person who saved his life, and unknowing, so he tracks her down, probably with the card and all that, and then convinces her to help with this particular case. Meanwhile, Dimitri meets the man behind his own kidnapping, which was Alexis, who is now a part of an experiment that is granting him strength and kind of like an appearance that looks like a rhino, that he is impenetrable by any metal, gun, whatever you bring at him. He is very strong. So that experiment was successful on him, but it costs him a lot of, side effects. So Kraven is in very big trouble as the father's business rival, Alexis, hires the boogeyman. I call him the boogeyman. He uses ocular hypnosis to disorient his target. And he ambushed Kraven, but luckily for him, he survives the first time. So tracking Kraven and Calypso to his sanctuary, Alexis and the boogeyman ambushed Kraven, drugging him with neurotoxins, because the boogeyman now left him off to Alexis to finish him off, But fortunately for Kraven, Calypso happened to be in the background and then kills the boogeyman with a crossbow and revives Kraven with the very same potion he gave him the first time. So Kraven, as a protector of the forest and its life forms, uses the buffalo stampede to trap Alexis. That was the ending part of the movie, who then turns into a rhino, and that was where the real war began, because he was really strong, overpowering Kraven. So before the buffalo stampeded him at the very end. So when Kraven finally learned that Nikolai, his father, was the one who revealed his existence to Alexis, Kraven tracks his father down for answers. Nikolai reveals that he knew Alexis was targeting him and manipulated his son to remove him. So Kraven steals ammunition so that his father was killed by a wild bear. So that was the death of his father. A year later, so we saw Kraven visit Dimitri, who is now shocked to find out that Dimitri has succeeded his father's criminal empire, having gained shape-shifting abilities from the very same doctor who experimented on Alexis. Dimitri revealed this to Kraven, disowning him and stating that despite his claims of being morally superior, that he and Nikolai are the very, very same. There is no disparity between him and his father. So hunters, those who are searching for the next great trophy, that was where he was captured, a villain, because he let his father die by instigating that bear to kill him. There was a question Dimitri asked at the very end: how did our father die? Was it just a normal bear attack? Because he knows that Kraven was there to instigate such action. He knows how much he hated the father. So at home, Kraven discovered a note from Nikolai along with a vest that was made from the skin of this very same lion he killed long ago. He puts it on, and the villain, Kraven, was born that day.